Surprise! Drinking water wrongly can damage your kidneys. By wrongly, we mean you can either drink too much or too little water. Both can potentially harm your kidneys. But what's the right amount of water to drink? Many people believe in the old adage that you should drink 8 cups, or about 2 liters, of water daily to stay hydrated. This is actually a myth because people tend to confuse water intake with fluid intake. Water intake is simply drinking water, but fluid intake includes all drinks and foods containing water. When we talk about keeping yourself hydrated, it's about everything you consume, not just plain water. That's why the advice to drink 2 liters of water daily is not exactly correct for everyone. In this video, we will give you tips on monitoring your water intake for the best kidney health, from when to drink water to how much to drink, and the safety levels of different types of water. Note that in some cases, drinking only plain water may not be enough. Next, we will explain in detail how drinking too much or too little water can damage your kidneys. Before we dive in, please note, all the information in this video is created by real people, thoroughly fact-checked, unbiased, and reviewed by qualified professionals. Drinking too much water. While experts are still determining the proper amount of water needed daily, drinking more than 1 liter or about 1 quart every hour will cause extra stress on the kidneys. According to the Merck Manual, one estimate suggests that repeatedly drinking more than 23 liters or 24 quarts of water over 24 hours may cause excessively high water levels in a young adult with normal body function. Rest assured, your kidneys usually filter out excess water. So, water toxicity, overhydration, water intoxication, or drinking too much water occurs rarely in healthy people. People at risk for overhydration are endurance athletes, premature babies, and people with certain mental illnesses and pituitary disorders. Water intoxication may also occur in those with kidney, liver, and heart disease due to their impaired abilities to maintain proper fluid balance. People taking on drinking challenges and those who have consumed large amounts of alcohol may also be subject to water toxicity. Certain medications such as diuretics, antidepressants, antipsychotics, and drugs such as MDMA or ecstasy may cause people to consume excessive amounts of water as well. Drinking too much water too quickly dilutes the sodium level in the blood. Healthy sodium levels are between 135 and 145 milliequivalents per liter. When sodium levels are under 135 milliequivalents per liter, this is known as hyponatremia. Healthy kidneys can remove excess water at a rate of about 1 liter or 1 quart per hour. Water intoxication occurs when the kidneys can't remove water fast enough to maintain the normal sodium balance. Water will then move into the cells, which contain more sodium, causing fluid retention. The fluid retained in cells causes them to swell or become too big. This state, a main concern of water intoxication, may even cause swelling in brain cells, known as cerebral edema. Symptoms of water intoxication may include trouble thinking clearly, nausea, and vomiting. Early treatment is essential, as severe cases may cause seizures or death. During the 2002 Boston Marathon, almost 500 runners enrolled in a study investigating race-related causes of hyponatremia. After finishing the race, over 60 marathoners experienced low blood sodium levels related to overhydration. To reduce the risks of hyponatremia, the researchers recommended that long-distance runners estimate their water needs during a marathon. They should weigh themselves before and after training runs and hydrate according to how much fluid they've lost through sweating and how thirsty they feel. Another study, published online in 2021 with BMJ Open, surveyed 590 patient reports. The study included patients with hyponatremia resulting from water toxicity. On average, the patients drank 8 liters of fluids daily. Severe effects included seizures and coma, while other symptoms reported were vomiting, lightheadedness, and weakness. Unfortunately, a small number of patients experienced brain damage due to complications, while over 75 of the patients died. Overall, drinking too much water, although not common, may cause low sodium levels in the blood and fluid retention. These problems can cause severe damage to the kidneys. Studies also highlight the dangers associated with overhydration that may lead to death. Next, learn how kidney damage can also occur from drinking too little water. To stay hydrated, you should know when you need more water. Under normal circumstances, water loss occurs when we sweat, breathe, defecate, and urinate. For instance, during physical exercise, you breathe faster and sweat more. Pregnant or nursing women have additional water requirements. Also, water needs may increase if you're in hot weather or high altitudes. When you are ill, you may lose significant amounts of water with a fever, vomiting, or diarrhea. Dehydration occurs when water is lost faster than it can be replaced. Due to the abundance of water in most places, people can easily avoid becoming dehydrated. However, many adults, particularly older adults, are chronically dehydrated. Some older individuals have weakness, decreased thirst sensation, diabetes, or kidney damage that may put them at risk. The risk of dehydration also increases if you drink too much water without enough electrolytes. Still, we'll discuss this later. When the body is dehydrated, it attempts to correct the fluid imbalance through several mechanisms. Special sensors in the brain, known as osmoreceptors, detect changes in the blood's fluid and electrolyte balance. The hypothalamus signals the pituitary gland to release antidiuretic hormone, or ADH for short. ADH tells the kidneys to stop releasing fluid into the urine and instead reabsorb it into the blood. The kidneys also have a mechanism to compensate for dehydration. When the blood pressure drops, they release the hormone renin, which activates another system that increases blood pressure. Renin turns another hormone, angiotensin 1, into angiotensin 2. Angiotensin 2 signals the adrenal glands on the top of the kidneys to release aldosterone. Then, aldosterone signals the kidneys to reabsorb more sodium and water. This brings the blood pressure back into balance, while also helping you become hydrated. Dehydration should be addressed to avoid long-term kidney damage, even in mild cases. If dehydration continues and becomes severe, the kidneys will develop acute kidney injury, or AKI for short, which can occur in as little as 2 days. Low fluid volume also increases the risk of urinary tract infections and kidney stones. Even waste products may build up in the filtration system or return to the blood unfiltered. Fortunately, the hypothalamus also signals when you need to drink water. In response to low blood volume, the brain triggers thirst and, interestingly, detects when you swallow fluids. However, by the time you become thirsty, you may already be mildly dehydrated. So, it's best to sip water throughout the day and drink more when you are thirsty. Older adults or those with brain injuries may have a reduced ability to sense thirst and should make sure to maintain adequate fluid intake. A large 2021 study published in Clinical and Experimental Nephrology examined the water consumption of over 50,000 Koreans. The results showed that increasing water intake was important for preventing kidney damage, especially in older men. As the participants drank more water in proportion to their body weight, their kidney function improved. In another 2016 study published in the American Journal of Physiology, researchers highlighted dehydration as a serious concern among field workers. This population has increased rates of chronic kidney disease. The study's findings suggested that thousands of field workers' deaths may be related to chronic dehydration. Researchers looked at various types of fluid intake in dehydrated rats to determine the effects on kidney damage prevention. They concluded that the rats who drank soda had the lowest hydration and the worst kidney damage. Rats drinking water or water sweetened with a natural sugar substitute only suffered mild effects of dehydration. So, it's important to stay hydrated by drinking water, not soda. This section discussed water loss and dehydration. Kidney injury, kidney stones, and urinary tract infections may result from inadequate fluid intake. Next, we'll highlight ways to monitor your personal needs for fluid balance. For those interested in the evidence, the studies supporting our claims are provided in the link in our description box. Monitor your water intake for kidney health. As mentioned, it's essential to pay attention to your thirst. Urine color, odor, and frequency may indicate how well fluid is balanced. Clear urine usually suggests that you are hydrated enough or too hydrated. When you drink more, you urinate more frequently. When you are dehydrated, your urine turns yellow or amber and may have a strong smell. As the urine becomes more concentrated, you'll also make fewer trips to the bathroom. In this case, you should increase your water intake. However, other factors such as infections and kidney disease may also cause changes in urine characteristics. When you are not hydrated, you may wonder if you should have an electrolyte drink. The answer is yes and no. First, let's discuss what electrolytes are, why they are important for healthy body functioning, and situations when the body may experience electrolyte imbalance. Electrolytes are tiny particles that carry an electrical charge. They help the body perform vital functions, including nutrient and waste transport, fluid balance, muscle contraction, and nerve conduction. They also help maintain your acid-base balance, heart rate, and heart rhythm. You've probably already heard the names of the most common electrolytes: sodium, potassium, chloride, calcium, magnesium, phosphate, and bicarbonate. Like water, they leave the body naturally through urine, feces, and sweat. You may lose more electrolytes along with fluid during illness with fevers, vomiting, or diarrhea. Electrolytes can also be lost when you're sweating heavily due to exercise or hot and humid outdoor temperatures, and also when you're taking certain medications. High blood sugar in people with diabetes also causes both electrolyte and fluid loss. Now, when you become dehydrated in these situations, electrolyte replacement drinks are helpful for replenishing fluid and electrolytes quickly. Some people may want to drink them after mild or moderate exercise, but water will usually be sufficient. However, these drinks may still be beneficial after exercising for over an hour with intense sweating or under an hour with vigorous exercise in high temperatures. Electrolyte drinks aren't generally needed throughout the day and may be harmful in some instances. They contain high amounts of sodium, potassium, magnesium, and chloride. For people with kidney or heart conditions, these drinks may increase blood pressure or dangerously raise blood electrolyte levels. Some electrolyte drinks have high amounts of sugar, which can contribute to diabetes, obesity, and other health problems. They may also be full of unhealthy food dyes, preservatives, and artificial sugar substitutes. So, it's best to drink water. If you must drink these electrolyte drinks, read the ingredients label carefully. Most foods also contain electrolytes, but whole food sources from plants are the most nutritious. Good choices would be fruits, such as citrus and coconut water, but also some leafy green vegetables, honey, ginger, brine from fermented foods, beans, seaweed, pumpkin seeds, and fatty fish. These are all excellent examples of nutrient-dense electrolyte food sources. If you've watched the entire video so far, you will be able to recognize common myths about staying hydrated. Myth number 1. You must drink 8 glasses of water daily. Myth number 2. The more water you drink, the better it is for your body. Myth number 3. Drinking water is the only way to stay hydrated. Myth number 4. You should always drink high amounts of electrolytes or sports drinks when exercising. Another myth is that caffeine and alcohol are dehydrating. While both are diuretics that increase urination frequency and volume, moderate consumption can still help maintain your hydration. However, limit caffeine and alcohol along with other sweet drinks, since they can have damaging effects on the kidneys when consumed excessively. Up to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, or about 4 9-ounce cups of coffee, is considered safe. Some people with kidney disease need to be cautious about the amount of water they drink. As kidney damage worsens, doctors may prescribe a limited fluid intake, particularly for those on kidney dialysis. At this stage, the kidney's capacity to create urine and regulate the amount of fluid in the body is greatly reduced. Some people may even stop making urine. However, people with kidney stones or urinary tract infections, or UTIs, should increase their hydration. Flushing the kidneys with water will help the stones fall apart. Besides that, drinking water will also help fight UTIs. This is because flushing the kidneys and bladder helps remove unwanted bacteria. You may be wondering if bottled water is better than tap water and what type of water you should drink for kidney health. There are a few factors to keep in mind. Tap water standards around the world vary in their safety. Tap water's purity depends on the location where you get your water. Not all drinking water at public facilities is safe. Some tap water may have high levels of manufactured chemicals or even natural minerals that are linked with health conditions such as cancer. In places where water sanitation is poor, people drink more bottled water. However, in places where tap water quality meets safety standards, marketing efforts may create the belief that bottled water is a better alternative. However, bottled water quality can also vary greatly, depending on its source, the material of the bottle, how the water is stored, and the substances in the water itself. In the United States, bottled water safety standards are similar to those of tap water, but this may not be true worldwide. No matter which type of water you decide to drink, drinking from a safe source is highly important. Sugary beverages may seem like a good choice when you are thirsty. However, they aren't hydrating and might even cause more harm than good. Drinks containing high amounts of sugar include sodas, smoothies, coffee, energy, and fruit drinks. Not only do they cause an unhealthy increase in blood sugar levels, but they can also increase dehydration. Beverages high in sugar trigger ADH release, which causes the kidneys to retain fluid and concentrate the urine. This puts extra stress on the kidneys to filter blood. Also, sugar from sweetened drinks can increase the production of uric acid and other byproducts. These waste products can cause inflammation and the creation of harmful substances called free radicals. Free radicals may cause damage within the tiny filtration structures of the kidneys. Sodas are also linked with causing kidney stones. Drinking large amounts of caffeine in coffee, tea, and energy drinks can cause high blood pressure, which puts additional strain on the kidneys. As an alternative, try sparkling water, black coffee, green tea, and low-sugar smoothies. Overall, drinking water is usually the best way to stay hydrated. A 2021 narrative review published in the European Journal of Nutrition states that water, without other additives, is the healthiest beverage. Next, we'll discuss tips that will help you decide when to drink water. Tip number 1. To make sure you are getting enough water throughout the day, drink water before and during meals and when you become thirsty. Tip number 2. Make sure to hydrate when you increase your physical activity. Tip number 3. Note that drinking large amounts of water infrequently will only temporarily hydrate you. This amount of water may leave the body quickly to prevent blood dilution and low sodium. Instead, do the opposite. Drink small amounts of water frequently and eat hydrating foods throughout the day. Having some water in the evening will help keep you hydrated overnight. It can also decrease your body temperature to help you sleep better. However, if you have acid reflux, you might want to stop drinking water for at least 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. Alternatively, drink only small amounts of water at bedtime to minimize the need to urinate at night. In this section, we discussed learning to recognize your signs of hydration through thirst and urine indicators, bottled water and tap water safety, and some common myths. Next, we will summarize the critical points made in the video. Be sure to watch until the end to reinforce and help you remember each point. 5 worst daily habits. Are you unknowingly damaging your kidneys? Fix them today. Let's have an honest talk about your kidneys. These days, everyone's searching for kidney detoxes and miracle foods, trying to boost kidney health. But here's the truth. The best way to care for your kidneys isn't through learning some new hack or magic fix. It's by simply cutting back on what could harm them as much as possible. Sounds simple enough, but your seemingly harmless routine is probably full of silent kidney-stressing habits. Once kidneys are damaged, especially in chronic cases, recovery is rare, and untreated issues can lead to kidney failure, requiring dialysis or a transplant to survive. Worse still, kidney disease often develops without any warning signs until one's kidneys lose 80% of their function. In fact, 90% of Americans don't realize they have kidney issues. But once you spot hidden kidney stressors from your daily routine, you can start making life-changing choices. No trendy superfoods or magical recipes required. just awareness. We're here to summarize 5 common habits that can harm your kidneys, along with practical tips to keep them healthy. 5. Prolonged sitting or lying down. When you sit or lie down for long periods, your blood flow and circulation slow down. This can lead to high blood pressure when standing and poor blood sugar regulation, both of which are major risk factors for kidney disease. Sitting or lying too much also promotes poor posture, compressing kidneys, ruining their filtering over time. A 2022 study in the Sports Medicine Journal followed over 450,000 people for 21 years and found that sitting for long periods at work increased the risk of chronic kidney disease, or CKD for short, by 26%, the need for dialysis by 19%, and the risk of death from kidney issues by 43%. Just 15 minutes of daily exercise helped lower these risks. Other studies also showed that people who sat the least had the lowest CKD risk, no matter how much they usually exercise or how much they weigh. Breaking the cycle of prolonged sitting or lying might feel challenging, especially if you work a desk job or have a busy schedule. But even when you're seated, you can add in small movements. One easy trick is to keep a small water bottle nearby. It keeps your kidneys hydrated, and when it's empty, it's a good reminder to get up and refill it, giving your body a break from sitting. Next time you're on a phone call, try standing, walking around, or doing a few simple stretches. Even better, walk over to a colleague instead of calling. If you're sitting at your desk, do simple seated exercises like ankle rotations, knee lifts, or shoulder rolls to keep your blood flowing. If you can, switch to a standing desk or an adjustable desk that lets you alternate between sitting and standing throughout the day. It might sound cliché, but it's something really important for your kidneys. Keep your screen height at eye level, your keyboard at elbow height, and your chair supporting your lower back. Get your posture right, and your kidneys will thank you. To break the habit of sitting further, try a more structured movement plan. Start each morning with a 5 to 10 minute stretch or a quick walk to get your circulation going. This also helps set an active tone for the day. At work, the simplest yet most effective trick is setting phone alarms or computer break reminders. Every 30 minutes, stand up, stretch, walk in place, or do some basic movements. Every couple of hours, try a 5-minute walking break, do some light exercises, reset your posture, and grab a water refill. 4. Eating too much salt and sugar. Salt and sugar in excess are 2 of the biggest dangers for kidney health. Salt, or sodium chloride, is essential for the body, but too much of it makes kidneys retain more water to dilute sodium, disrupting their natural filtration process. High salt intake also forces kidneys to work overtime, as salt molecules are heavy for passage through the kidney nephrons, causing higher glomerular pressure. Over time, this extra workload can lead to kidney damage and even kidney stones. High sodium intake can also make kidney-protecting drugs, like ACE inhibitors and calcium antagonists, less effective. How about sugar? Eating too much of it raises blood sugar levels, which can damage the tiny blood vessels inside your kidneys and weaken their filtration, especially if you have diabetes. If not managed, this damage may lead to high protein in urine, also known as proteinuria, CKD, and even kidney failure. High sugar intake also increases blood pressure, adding strain to your kidneys. A 2023 study found that people who consumed 25% or more of their daily calories from added sugar had an 88% higher risk of kidney stones than those who ate less. Looking to reduce the risks from sugar and salt? It's simple, but powerful. Cut back whenever you can. General guidelines recommend consuming less than 2 grams of sodium per day per person. Hidden salt sources to watch for are processed foods such as bread, cereals, canned goods, deli meats, pickles, condiments, and sauces. For better kidney health, cut down on them and cook more meals at home to control salt. Start reading food labels for sodium content. Rinse canned foods, make homemade salad dressings, bring lunch from home, try nutritional yeast for savory flavor, and flavor your food with herbs and spices instead of salt. For example, choose garlic powder over garlic salt. It may take 6 to 8 weeks for your taste buds to adjust, but once they do, salty foods like chips might taste overly salty. It might help to keep a salt diary for the first 2 weeks, or until you're comfortable with using less salt. Now, regarding sugar, it sneaks into almost everything. so it's really helpful to track all your sugar sources in the first few weeks. Remember, your body doesn't need any added sugar, so skip sodas, fruit punches, sweetened iced tea, and sport and energy drinks. Some other hidden sources are granola bars, healthy breakfast cereals, and low-fat products. Sugar is added to replace the creamy texture of fat. Be aware of the 70 different names for sugar we put on the screen when scanning food labels. No worries if you couldn't screenshot in time. You'll find a printable list of these 70 names in the description box. If you really need a sweet treat, go for fruits or try sugar alcohols like erythritol, stevia, and monk fruit. Sugar alcohols have a chemical structure similar to both sugars and alcohols, but they're neither. The best part is, they're deliciously sweet without raising your blood sugar like regular sugar and are safer than artificial sweeteners. Besides sugar alcohols, you can add a touch of vanilla or cinnamon for a sweet treat. They come with bonus kidney-boosting antioxidants. Here is a pro tip. Start your day with a protein-rich breakfast to curb those sugar cravings during the day. But are all proteins created equal? Let's explore that in the next section. Are you enjoying our video so far? If so, please give us some hints by dropping a like, and we'll make more content like this. 3. Eating too much meat. Our kidneys process animal and plant proteins differently. For example, according to nutrition facts, after eating tuna, your kidneys work 36% harder within 3 hours. But if you eat the same amount of protein from tofu, your kidneys usually don't have to work any harder. Why does this happen? Animal protein contains purines, which get broken down into uric acid. High levels of this waste product can lead to kidney stones. Eating meat also raises the level of acid in your blood. When acid loads are too high, the kidneys must work harder to keep balance, which can eventually damage their filtering system, cause inflammation, muscle loss, and weaken bones. Another harmful effect of eating too much meat is the production of uremic toxins in the gut, like TMAO, which is linked to a higher risk of heart disease and can speed up kidney disease progression. Give your kidneys a break by swapping some animal foods with fresh veggies and whole grains. Foods like beans, tofu, tempeh, seeds, nuts, and quinoa are great sources of protein. When choosing meat, consider lower purine cuts like chicken or turkey instead of beef and pork. Limit red meat to 2 to 3 times a week, and you could add 1 or 2 meat-free days to explore plant-based meals. If you're used to having meat with every meal, let's start small. For your first week, cut your meat portion in half and fill the rest of your plate with colorful veggies or grains. For example, instead of a full steak, you could make a veggie-packed stir-fry with a bit of beef. Flavor can often be a major reason we reach for meat. Try experimenting with savory, umami-rich veggie recipes that add the deep flavor you're looking for, without the protein strain. Common umami-rich veggie foods are mushrooms, nutritional yeast, soy sauce, and miso paste. Don't forget to choose low-sodium versions. It might take a couple of weeks to adjust, but you'll find some new favorites. Plus, to support your kidneys when you're eating more protein, keep drinking water alongside your meal. When dining out, try opting for fish and poultry or sharing a meat dish with friends to keep portions balanced. Also, watch out for animal-based dairy. It's high in phosphorus, which can damage bones and blood vessels in those with CKD. 2. Holding in urine. The average office worker holds their urine for 2 to 4 hours during a workday. And we've all done it. You're on a long drive or watching a movie, and you just don't want to interrupt. But those just a few more minutes moments could be the very thing damaging your kidney health. When urine doesn't fully empty from your body, it can cause a condition called hydronephrosis, where one or both kidneys swell. If untreated, severe hydronephrosis can lead to kidney failure. Constantly delaying urination also raises your risk of urinary tract infections, or UTIs for short, because an overly full bladder can trap bacteria. These infections can spread to the kidneys and hurt them. Holding urine too long can also stretch the bladder and weaken bladder muscles, forcing urine back toward kidneys. Over time, this can make your bladder hold less urine and make UTIs happen more often, which can complicate further into kidney infection, kidney stones, or even sepsis. But the fact is that it's not always easy to urinate when you feel the urge. But the good news is, you can actually take control of it. Pelvic floor exercises can help train your bladder. Plus, spread out your water intake throughout the day so it's easier on your bladder. Be mindful of caffeine in drinks like sodas, coffee, tea, and even decaf options, as they all contain some caffeine. Caffeine is a natural diuretic, meaning it increases urine production. Also, if you drink a lot of caffeine, like over 400 milligrams per day, it can harm your kidneys. Try switching to herbal teas, unsweetened fruit juice, and vegetable smoothies to stay hydrated and energized without overdoing the caffeine. One of the easiest ways to stop holding in urine is by setting reminders. At work, you can schedule bathroom breaks every 2 to 3 hours, and don't forget hydration reminders. This simple habit can take pressure off both your kidneys and your mind. For those who get busy and forget, setting up a routine can really help. Try to use the bathroom after waking up, before leaving the house, before meals, and before a meeting, even if you don't feel the urge. This isn't just about your health. It'll help you stay focused at work. And if you're traveling, plan your rest stops in advance. If you find yourself frequently needing to hold it in or experience pain while urinating, cloudy or foamy urine, or lower back pain, it's important to see a doctor. These might indicate a kidney issue that needs attention. 1. Overlooking medication risks. Some medications like NSAIDs, which are pain relievers, and ACE inhibitors, which are blood pressure drugs, can be toxic for your kidneys. This damage can range from mild to complete kidney failure. Now, people who regularly self-treat chronic issues like headaches or arthritis with over-the-counter painkillers should be very careful. NSAIDs include common drugs like aspirin, ibuprofen, Motrin, ketorolac, celecoxib, and naproxen. Although these medicines are easy to get, they shouldn't be used daily or regularly without first consulting your doctor. Every year, about 500,000 to 2.5 million people suffer kidney injuries from NSAIDs. Why? NSAIDs work by blocking an enzyme called COX, which normally helps produce pain-causing substances. However, COX is also important for protecting the kidneys under stress and helps regulate sodium and water balance. By blocking COX, NSAIDs can lead to fluid retention, inflammation, reduced kidney blood flow, impaired kidney function, and even acute kidney failure. They can also raise blood pressure, worsening kidney damage. Another medication to be cautious with is ACE inhibitors, commonly used to lower blood pressure and treat heart, blood vessels, and even kidney conditions. Popular ACE inhibitors include Zestril, Prinavil, Altase, Vasotec, and Lotensin. These drugs help lower blood pressure and widen blood vessels, which may improve blood flow to the kidneys, reducing their workload. However, when you consume them with NSAIDs, diuretics, or alcohol, your risk of acute kidney injury, or AKI, can increase sky high. Not drinking enough water while taking ACE inhibitors can also raise the risk. In rare cases, especially in people with heart failure or severe dehydration, ACE inhibitors can cause acute kidney failure. Therefore, dosages and drug interactions should be carefully managed by your doctor, and ask them for medication list reviews regularly. As we live in a time of medications, always remind yourself that they can kill us silently. Pain or high blood pressure could be your body's way of alerting you to deeper health issues. Rather than just addressing these symptoms, try to focus on the root cause of the problem. With this approach, you can truly protect your kidneys from possible drug-related risks and have greater confidence in your health choices. If you rely on pain relievers lately, consider using them only when absolutely necessary, and try to limit their use to a few times a week at most. Try home remedies like heat, cold, or physical therapy, such as compression therapy and posture correction. Acupuncture, massage therapy, gentle stretching, or meditation also work really well. If you're on blood pressure medication, check in with your doctor before making any changes and ask if there are lifestyle adjustments, like diet, exercise, sleep, or stress management that can support healthy blood pressure. Avoid alcohol, as it can interact with medications and add stress to your kidneys. And nature is the best healer. Learning mind-body approaches to reduce stress overall, like meditation, deep breathing, guided imagery, mindfulness practice, stress journaling, regular exercise, and gentle yoga, can help you manage pain and blood pressure naturally. They're great for just about anything with no side effects. Plus, boost your kidney health naturally with antioxidant-rich foods like turmeric with black pepper, ginger, omega-3 rich and fermented foods, green tea and herbal teas, tart cherries, and plenty of fruits or vegetables. We've got lots of videos on our channel with tips to help you get the most out of these foods, so check them out. You cannot heal your kidneys if you still eat bread and pasta. Your great-grandmother survived on bread and pasta her whole life, living to 95. So why are modern nutritionists claiming these comfort foods are kidney killers? When we brought this up in one of our earlier videos, a lot of people asked the same question. Actually, recent studies reveal that some ingredients in these foods can actually be harmful to your kidneys over time. Some of them can even be toxic if you have kidney disease. Luckily, not every type of bread and pasta is harmful to your kidneys. However, these days, so many types of these wheat products are lining the shelves of bakeries and grocery stores, making it challenging to find the right options for those managing kidney health. We're here to help you select the best options, from the store to your home cooking, and what foods to pair them with. But first, let's uncover the hidden risks behind bread and pasta that can affect your kidneys. 4 reasons why bread and pasta can harm your kidneys. 1. Heavy sodium load. Sodium is a mineral of concern among people with chronic kidney disease, or CKD for short. Those with certain medical conditions, such as CKD, should aim for no more than 1,500 milligrams per day. Eating too much sodium from table salt is strongly linked with high blood pressure, swelling, heart disease, and stroke in both healthy people and those with CKD. Unfortunately, nearly all breads contain salt, with just a few exceptions. In fact, bread is a hidden source of salt and is ranked among the salty 6, the 6 processed foods containing the highest amounts of sodium chloride, or table salt. For example, bagels from Dunkin' Donuts and Panera Bread sides go beyond 500 milligrams sodium per serving. On average, breads contain about 450 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams serving. Let's say an average slice weighs about 30 grams. That means you'll get 270 milligrams of sodium from a sandwich with 2 slices from the bread alone. Now let's talk about pasta. Unlike bread, pasta usually doesn't have salt added during processing. Most of the sodium comes from cooking, since we tend to add salt to the water. On top of that, the use of pasta sides, such as ketchup and tomato sauce, further add quite a bit of extra sodium. For example, ready-made tomato sauce contains about 700 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. A much healthier option is to prepare tomato sauce at home using fresh or plain canned tomatoes, which typically have just 20 milligrams of sodium per 100 grams. To find low-sodium bread and pasta, stay tuned. We'll share some great options later in this video. 2. High phosphorus content. Some breads and pastas can have a lot of phosphorus, giving you 100 to 200 milligrams per 100 grams. That's about the amount in 2 to 5 slices of bread or 1 cup of cooked pasta. Phytates is a type of organic phosphorus found in plant-based foods like bread and pasta. These compounds bind to essential minerals like calcium, magnesium, and iron, making it harder for our bodies to absorb them. Over time, this can lead to mineral deficiencies, which is harmful for both healthy people and those with CKD. Along with the natural phosphorus found in phytates, phosphate additives are commonly added into processed bread and pasta to improve their color, texture, and shelf life. Watch for added phosphorus by scanning for the word PHOSP on the ingredient list, such as sodium phosphate, potassium phosphate, and calcium phosphate. A study in the Journal of Renal Nutrition found that around 57% of bread and baked goods contain phosphorus additives, adding 67 milligrams more phosphorus per 100 grams than additive-free ones. Note that added phosphorus in store-bought bread and pasta is absorbed by the body twice as easily as natural phosphorus. This is concerning, as the daily recommendation for phosphorus is 700 milligrams, and for people with CKD, it's often better to keep it lower. Simply put, in CKD, the kidneys can't clear extra phosphorus from the blood effectively. Too much phosphorus in the blood can gradually increase the risk of bone loss, heart attacks, and death. Also, high phosphorus levels can directly damage kidney cells, which can lead to kidney failure. These problems usually arise in the later stages of kidney disease, but it's always smart to start managing your phosphorus intake early on to take the pressure off your kidneys and avoid complications. That's why it's often recommended to control phosphorus intake even in the early stages of CKD. Are you enjoying our video so far? If so, please give us some hints by dropping a like, and we'll make more content like this. 3. Issues with potassium. Just like phosphorus, potassium intake is also restricted for people with CKD. In these patients, the kidneys can't filter potassium properly. Then, this mineral can build up in the blood to dangerous levels. This condition is known as hyperkalemia, which can cause fatigue, nausea, trouble breathing, heart palpitations, and chest pain. Severe hyperkalemia can increase the risk of heart disease and even sudden death. But do all people with CKD need to cut out potassium from their diets? That's not the case at all. Your body still needs this essential electrolyte to function properly. Interestingly, having a high potassium intake in the early stages of CKD can actually help slow kidney damage and even support heart health. But as kidney function declines, the risk of hyperkalemia increases. If CKD progresses to stages 3 to 5, it's really important to keep a close eye on potassium levels to prevent hyperkalemia. That's why experts recommend adjusting potassium intake based on individual needs and conditions. Healthy adults need 4.7 grams of potassium daily, while patients with CKD are generally advised to limit their intake to 3 grams per day or less. Bread and pasta are generally seen as low potassium foods, but not all types are equally low. A 100-gram serving, around 2 to 5 slices of bread, can contain 100 to 250 milligrams of potassium, while 100 grams of cooked pasta, which is about 1 cup, provides about 50 to 100 milligrams. This is because potassium additives are widely used in processed bread and pasta to improve texture, preserve freshness, and boost flavor. Some common ones include potassium bromate, potassium sorbate, and potassium chloride. These days, it's worrying that many processed bread and pasta, especially those with reduced sodium content, have extra potassium for flavor and preservation. This type of potassium is completely absorbed by the body, while we only absorb about 50 to 60% of the potassium from whole foods like fruits and vegetables. 4. Oxalate-related concerns. Oxalate, which is found in some types of bread and pasta, is a concern for both those with and without kidney disease. Oxalate is a natural anti-nutrient present in many leafy greens, fruits, nuts, and whole grains. Your body also makes oxalate as a waste product. This anti-nutrient can bind to vital nutrients like calcium and magnesium in your gut, making it harder for your body to absorb them. Our kidneys do an important job of clearing oxalate from the body. Healthy people can tolerate small amounts of oxalate, but those with kidney disease may need to limit their intake. Too high a level of oxalate can worsen any current kidney issues. When the kidneys aren't working as they should, oxalates can build up in the urine, forming stones in other parts of the body. This isn't just a concern for those with CKD. Even healthy kidneys can be affected over time. To prevent kidney stones, experts suggest limiting oxalate intake to under 100 milligrams per day. If you already have kidney stones, it's best to stay below 50 milligrams per day for better management. A study in New Zealand tested different brand products found in the local market. They found that wheat bran flakes topped the list for oxalate content, with 393 milligrams per 100 grams. Rice bran came in second, with 140 milligrams, while oat bran had the least, with only 37 milligrams per 100 grams. These amounts are much higher than the recommended 50 to 100 milligrams. For those interested in the evidence, the studies supporting our claims are provided in the link in our description box. Now that you've got all the facts about the hidden risks of bread and pasta, does that mean you have to give them up completely? It's definitely no. Note that managing CKD through diet means eating less protein, phosphorus, and potassium while still maintaining your energy. Some types of bread and pasta fit perfectly into this plan. So, the key is making smarter choices so you can still enjoy these favorites while keeping your kidneys healthy. And you can totally achieve that by following the ways we'll share right now. What can you do? Whole grain versus refined bread and pasta. While whole grain bread and pasta are often praised for their higher mineral and fiber content, those with kidney disease are better off choosing white flour options. These white bread and pasta go through a milling process that removes the outer bran and germ, leading to a notable decrease in oxalate, potassium, and phosphorus content. This makes them easier on your kidneys. For example, 100 grams of white bread has around 113 milligrams of phosphorus, but the same amount of whole wheat bread has nearly double that at 212 milligrams. The same goes for pasta. Cooked white pasta has about 58 milligrams, while whole grain pasta contains around 126 milligrams of phosphorus per 100 grams. Regarding potassium, a 100-gram serving of whole wheat bread packs about 250 milligrams, while the same amount of white bread has only 117 milligrams. Likewise, 100 grams of cooked whole grain pasta has around 95 milligrams of potassium compared to just 44 milligrams in white flour pasta. However, recently, experts argue that whole grains have their unique upsides. They explain that while whole grains do contain phosphorus and potassium, they're in a form that's harder for the body to absorb than the inorganic versions found in additives. Plus, whole grains help with satiety, digestion, and regular bowel movements, which refined grains simply can't match. Given this evidence, whole grain bread and pasta could still be an option for people with kidney disease, as long as it's in moderation. For example, swapping 2 slices of white bread for 1 slice of whole grain bread can reduce your phosphorus and potassium intake without cutting out whole grains completely. Just make sure to check with your doctor before making any changes to your diet. Shopping tips. Taking a moment to pick the right types of bread and pasta at the grocery store can truly make a difference. Pick freshly prepared bread and pasta from local bakeries. They often have fewer preservatives and additives compared to ready-to-eat or ready-to-cook processed options. Or else look for brands with fewer additives like matzah and manna sprouted breads. Just ensure the bakery provides ingredient transparency. Yes, you need to see a clear ingredient list and review them for the sodium, potassium, and phosphorus content. If you see a nutrition facts label with any nutrients showing a daily value of 20% or more, that means the food is high in those elements. Avoid products with incomplete labels. This is especially important for salt substitutes or low-sodium and sodium-free bread. For example, Hostess brands offer sodium-reduced bread options containing 33% less sodium, but the exact amount of sodium per serving can still be high for people with kidney disease. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration classifies low-sodium foods as those with less than 140 milligrams, very low sodium have under 35 milligrams, and sodium-free foods contain less than 5 milligrams per serving. If you're after low-sodium bread, Tuscan and Ezekiel breads are flavorful whole grain choices. Just a heads up, Ezekiel bread has been reported to have around 80 milligrams of phosphorus and 75 milligrams of potassium per slice. If you're watching your potassium intake, here's something important. Those seemingly harmless salt-free options might be a hidden source of potassium. A 2018 study in Canada found that 44% of low-sodium products had more potassium than their regular versions. In fact, potassium levels in these foods ranged from 210 to 1,500 milligrams per 100 grams, meaning a single serving could add up to 50% of the daily potassium limit for people with CKD. Sodium-free, low-potassium bread and pasta are typically harder to find, often sold at health or organic food stores. They are made from whole wheat or sprouted wheat flour, such as manna sprouted breads and matzah. Manna breads come in 9 different varieties, all with less than 10 milligrams of sodium per 2 slices. Matzah is also free from potassium and phosphorus, making it a practical option for those managing these nutrients. Cooking tips. Your best bet is always opt for the least processed foods. By baking your own bread and pasta, you get to choose healthier ingredients and skip the additives. This way, you know exactly what's going into your food. While pasta itself is usually salt-free, many instant and pre-packaged options are loaded with sodium. Watch out for instant noodles, flavored pasta mixes, and canned pasta dishes. When cooked without salt, pasta had less than 5 milligrams of sodium per serving. But when cooked in salted water, the sodium levels ranged from 247 to 490 milligrams. Rinsing after cooking reduced the sodium by 34%, while using double the salt in the water added 243 milligrams of more sodium. So, if you're trying to lower your sodium intake, cook pasta with less salt and rinse it afterward. Make your pasta healthier by creating your own sauce. Replace table salt with herbs, spices, and sodium-free seasonings to keep your sodium intake in check. Try skipping baking soda and baking powder in your recipes since they contain sodium. Instead, you can use natural leavening agents like yeast or sourdough, which are great alternatives. Consider using germinated or fermented whole grain flour. These methods are great for reducing phytates and oxalates, making them especially helpful for those with kidney conditions. Plus, bread and pasta made from these flours taste even better and offer more nutritional benefits. Combination tips. To keep your meals kidney-friendly, combine bread and pasta with lean proteins from legumes, eggs, or fish, and fresh veggies such as bell peppers and cucumbers. For a sweet twist, top bread with homemade fruit jams like apple, grape, or berries instead of store-bought spreads. Flavor pasta with fresh herbs like basil, oregano, and rosemary. Plus, try different homemade sauce recipes to avoid the high sodium and phosphorus found in pre-packaged ones. These days, you might find bread and pasta enriched with fruit and vegetable powders like banana bread and spinach noodles. These are trendy for their taste and nutritional benefits. But if you're managing CKD, be careful. Breads, biscuits, cupcakes, and pasta enriched with nuts, seeds, leafy greens, or legume powder can be very high in potassium, phosphorus, especially phytates, and oxalates, so enjoy them sparingly. How much bread and pasta should I have daily? Here's a quick guide. Bread and pasta fall under the grains and cereals group, which generally permits 6 to 11 servings daily. While there's no specific guideline just for bread and pasta, your dietitian can help plan your servings. Remember, one serving is a single slice of bread or half a cup of cooked pasta. But for people with CKD, especially in the advanced stages, dietary adjustments for these staples should be made based on your specific needs and clinical symptoms. Be sure to consult your doctor for tailored advice. One key condition to keep in mind is diabetic kidney disease, or DKD for short. This happens when high blood sugar from diabetes damages the blood vessels in your kidneys, making it harder for them to filter out waste and extra fluids. When managing this condition, choosing the right bread and pasta becomes crucial. Many conventional options are high in refined carbs, which can spike blood sugar and stress your kidneys. Look for healthier options made from low glycemic grains like oats, rye, barley, buckwheat, and quinoa. They offer balanced nutrients and steady energy without overwhelming your kidneys. Half the world eats rice toxins daily that damage kidneys. About half of the world's population relies on rice for their everyday meal, and the Americans consume an average of 1 cup of rice daily. However, rice can potentially harm your kidneys owing to some of its toxic compounds. For example, rice contains 10 times more arsenic, a lethal heavy metal, than other grains. Worse yet, rice grown in the US often contains more arsenic than other countries, and a lack of awareness can boost your arsenic intake from rice by 100 times. But with just a simple change in how you cook rice, you can cut down arsenic levels by 73% right away. And most people don't know that. Besides arsenic, rice contains other poisonous compounds that can permanently stop some parts of your kidneys from doing their job. What are these harmful compounds? In this video, we'll reveal what they are and give you all the tips we can find to make your rice safer. Plus, we'll suggest the best types of rice and some healthier alternatives, so you can enjoy your rice bowl with peace of mind. When rice becomes toxic for your kidneys. Recent studies show that rice contains a potentially harmful ingredient, arsenic. This toxic element has serious health implications for your kidneys. Arsenic is a heavy metal, denoted by the symbol As in the periodic table. Like other heavy metals, arsenic is known for its mutagenic and carcinogenic potential. This means that chronic exposure to this toxic element can increase your risk of skin conditions, cancer, and damage to organs like the kidneys. So, how does this deadly element actually get into your body? Let's uncover this. Arsenic is found in our environment in two forms. Organic arsenic. It is the least toxic form of arsenic found in the tissues of plants and animals, which makes it less harmful. Inorganic arsenic. This is the most toxic form of arsenic found in Earth's crust or in groundwater, dissolved. Inorganic arsenic also occurs in food, drinking water, soil, and airborne particles due to increasing environmental pollution. The bottom line is that organic arsenic is not as harmful as its highly toxic inorganic counterpart, which is the focus of this video. Arsenic is present in traces in many foods. Unfortunately, scientists are discovering significant levels of inorganic arsenic in rice and rice-based products. According to the Dartmouth Toxic Metals Superfund Research Program, funded by the National Institute of Environmental Health Sciences Superfund Research Program, rice consumption is the most common source of arsenic in our diet. In response to public concerns, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, or FDA for short, has set a limit of 100 micrograms per kilogram in rice products for children and infants. If this limit is exceeded, these products are considered unsafe to eat, and the manufacturers may face regulatory actions. Rice tends to accumulate more inorganic arsenic, the most toxic type, from the environment than other common grains, for reasons we'll discuss in a minute. According to a review published in Science of the Total Environment, rice contains 10 times more inorganic arsenic than other grains. This makes rice an important dietary source of this toxin, especially in regions where rice is present in almost every meal. Before moving on, let's take a look at the arsenic contents in some common grains. On average, rice grown in a typical environment contains approximately 100 to 200 micrograms per kilogram of inorganic arsenic. In contrast, other grains grown in similar conditions have much lower levels. For instance, barley contains 30 micrograms per kilogram, wheat has 20 micrograms per kilogram, and oats contain 10 micrograms per kilogram. Grains such as maize, quinoa, sorghum, and millet have even lower levels, with amounts below 10 micrograms per kilogram. This raises the question, why are the levels of arsenic higher in rice? The answer to this question lies primarily in its growing conditions. Rice is grown in flooded fields, where arsenic tends to accumulate as it seeps from soil or irrigation water, contaminated with arsenic-based pesticides, mining, smelting, and industrial waste. Secondly, the waterlogged fields create a low-oxygen environment that increases arsenic availability in soil, allowing rice plants to absorb it in greater amounts. Yet another concern is household use of arsenic-polluted water for washing and cooking rice. Rice grains tend to absorb arsenic from water during soaking and boiling, increasing the risk of arsenic in the rice you consume. Arsenic contamination poses a serious global health concern. Consuming arsenic through drinking water and rice can damage the kidneys, which are vital for removing toxins from your body. That's why it is crucial to understand the risks associated with arsenic, as that will empower you to make informed choices. Now, let's talk about how this lethal element affects your kidney health. Arsenic toxicity can be acute or chronic. Acute kidney injuries occur rapidly after exposure to a single large dose of arsenic. This typically requires immediate medical interventions to prevent lasting damage or fatality. Normally, with prompt and effective treatment, kidney cells can heal and regain their functions. On the other hand, chronic exposure to low doses of arsenic repeatedly harms kidney cells, leading to the development of chronic kidney disease, or CKD for short. CKD is an irreversible condition with no current cure. This subtle type of toxicity builds up gradually over time with continuous exposure. It's just like slow poisoning. This video will focus more on long-term arsenic toxicity, which often results from consuming foods that contain inorganic arsenic, like rice. To understand how arsenic affects your kidneys, let's first take a look at how your kidneys function. Each kidney has about 1 million nephrons, each featuring a complex structure called a glomerulus. The glomerulus works like a complex kitchen strainer, removing waste and excess water while keeping vital proteins and blood cells. The filtered fluid then moves through the kidney tubules, which return nutrients and small proteins to the bloodstream and eliminate waste into the urine. When you swallow low levels of arsenic from rice, your healthy kidneys can effectively remove it from your body. Here is a simple explanation of how this complicated process works. When you digest arsenic, it readily enters your bloodstream along with nutrients. Once arsenic reaches your cells, it is quickly turned into a less harmful state using glutathione, a natural antioxidant. In the next step, the liver adds a safety tag to the arsenic, ensuring it gets excreted from the body without causing any damage. This tagged arsenic then travels to the kidneys, where it is filtered and sent out of the body through urine. Let's consider the other scenario in which the kidneys are regularly exposed to arsenic because of eating arsenic-contaminated rice often. Research in mice has shown that the persistent intake of arsenic from rice, even in small amounts, gradually deteriorates kidney health over time. When the body can't remove all inorganic arsenic, the excess travels through the body without a safety tag. As a result, this toxic element damages soft tissues and tends to accumulate in the kidneys, leading to different forms of kidney dysfunction. For instance, arsenic accumulation in kidney cells causes oxidative stress, a key indicator of toxicity. When arsenic builds up in the cells, it uses up your body's stores of glutathione, a natural antioxidant that helps neutralize harmful unstable molecules, or free radicals, that damage cells. The excess free radicals trigger inflammation, cell death, and permanent damage in kidney tissues. After causing damage through oxidative stress, arsenic reaches the glomeruli and destroys their delicate structures. This leads to the permanent loss of the kidney's ability to filter waste and balance electrolytes, resulting in chronic kidney disease. Arsenic also harms the kidney tubule cells, where nutrients and proteins are reabsorbed. This damage causes electrolyte imbalances, loss of proteins in the urine, and more toxin buildup in the body. At its worst, this situation is far more critical for individuals with pre-existing kidney conditions. Damaged kidneys are less efficient at filtering arsenic, leading to quicker buildup and more toxicity. This can worsen kidney damage and potentially cause kidney failure, requiring dialysis or a kidney transplant for survival. According to a study published in Ecotoxicology and Environmental Safety in 2020, a group of researchers exposed mice to arsenic in rice for 16 weeks. They found that arsenic accumulation harmed the mice kidneys by increasing the free radicals that damaged kidney cells. This confirms the harmful effects of arsenic on kidney health and highlights the potential risks of consuming arsenic-contaminated rice. Beyond kidney health, arsenic poses other significant health risks. Long-term consumption of arsenic-contaminated food is linked to a higher risk of skin, bladder, and lung cancers, cardiovascular diseases, nerve damage, and developmental issues in children. This makes monitoring and regulating arsenic levels in food important, particularly in rice. Determining which types of rice are arsenic-free or contaminated can be challenging, but don't worry. We're here to provide you with essential information on this journey. In the next section, you will learn about the arsenic levels in different types of rice, tips to reduce toxins and healthier options, helping you make safer food choices. Now let's explore which types of rice have the lowest arsenic levels and how to choose the best options to avoid potential health risks. Are you enjoying our video so far? If so, please give us some hints by dropping a like, and we'll make more content like this. Arsenic content in different types of rice. According to the USA Rice Federation, approximately 120,000 rice varieties are grown worldwide. Arsenic levels in rice vary greatly, by 3 to 34 times, depending on the type and where it's grown. Interestingly, studies found that rice grown in the United States often contains higher amounts of arsenic than other regions. More specifically, rice cultivated in certain southern states, including Arkansas, Louisiana, and Texas, collectively known as the Ark-La-Tex region, show elevated arsenic content. A study published in Environmental Science and Technology examined 204 rice commercial samples from New York stores and found that rice from the Ark-La-Tex region, which accounts for 47% of the U.S. market, had the highest arsenic levels, ranging from 190 to 258 micrograms per kilogram. Rice from California had lower arsenic at 133 micrograms per kilogram, and rice from Asia had the lowest at 70 micrograms per kilogram. So, what makes American rice more risky than Asian rice? Historically, farmers from southern cotton farming belts heavily used arsenic-based pesticides, leaving residual arsenic in the soil and water. This legacy, combined with the natural high arsenic geology and industrial pollution in these areas, makes rice paddies more likely to absorb arsenic. Although the United States produces enough rice to satisfy half of its population, it remains the largest rice importing country in the Western Hemisphere. In fact, it imports around 1.3 million tons annually. Most of this originates from Asia, which generally has lower arsenic levels. However, not all Asian rice contains lower levels of arsenic. This issue significantly varies from one place to another. For instance, rice grown in Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, and China often has elevated arsenic levels because the groundwater used for irrigation in these regions is naturally high in arsenic. On the other hand, both the United States and Europe value rice from Pakistan and India for its safety and aromatic qualities. Basmati and jasmine rice, commonly grown in these regions, are known for their low arsenic levels. When buying rice at the grocery store, many people focus on whether it's brown or white rice, rather than where it comes from. Brown rice is considered more beneficial and preferred over white rice because of its higher fiber content, richer nutrient profile, and lower glycemic index. It also retains the highest concentrations of inorganic arsenic in the outer bran layers. Here's the interesting twist. The arsenic content within brown rice increases as the grain size gets smaller, which suggests that brown rice with larger grains may be a better choice. However, when brown rice is polished to produce white rice, the arsenic-containing bran and other outer layers are removed. As a result, white rice typically has a lower arsenic content. This is why white rice is considered a safer option for reducing the risk of arsenic exposure. More specifically, an FDA report from 2016 revealed that a typical variety of brown rice contains 154 micrograms per kilogram of arsenic, while its white rice counterpart has only 92 micrograms per kilogram. The bottom line is that brown rice contains an average of 50% more inorganic arsenic than white rice of the same variety. Other toxic compounds in rice. Rice can also affect kidney health due to its high levels of phytates and amylopectin. Phytate, or phytic acid, is an anti-nutrient found in rice. This means it can reduce your body's ability to absorb minerals, which could lead to deficiencies over time. According to a study published in 2020, consuming too many phytates, along with low calcium, can damage the tubular cells of the kidneys, leading to crystal deposition in the kidneys. It can also result in bone loss due to phosphate and calcium wasting through the urine. Amylopectin, on the other hand, is a type of starch in rice that is rapidly digested, causing quick spikes in blood sugar levels. This rapid rise in blood sugar may contribute to insulin resistance and diabetes, risk factors for kidney disease. Long grain rice varieties, example basmati and jasmine, contain the least amount of amylopectin, whereas short grain rice, like arborio, paella style, and Italian, and sticky rice, including glutinous or waxy type, have the highest amount of amylopectin. While rice is common in many diets, it's important to consider these factors, especially if you're concerned about kidney health. Now, stick around as we explore how to enjoy your rice bowl while keeping these concerns in check. Reducing toxic compounds in rice. No matter how toxic rice can be, it is still everywhere, easy to digest, and simple to cook, making it a popular staple for many. In 2023, the Food and Agriculture Organization, or FAO for short, reported that the global population consumed approximately 520 million metric tons of rice. If you split up this figure, you will learn that each person on the planet consumes roughly 54 kilograms of rice within a year. According to the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Americans consume an average of 33 pounds, or 15 kilograms, of rice per person within a year. In other words, that is approximately 1 cup of cooked rice every day. The significance of rice in our daily diet lies in its nutrition, health, and recovery uses. For instance, rice is gluten-free and recommended for people with celiac disease and gluten intolerance. Because of its low fiber content, White rice is a good choice for people with inflammatory bowel disease, or IBD for short, following low-residue diets, and it helps recovery after a bout of diarrhea. It is also among the first solid foods introduced to babies because it has a mild taste and is less likely to cause allergies. If you really need rice or love it too much to give it up, here are some ways to keep enjoying it while reducing the risk of toxic compounds. The joint consultation of the FAO and WHO set the tolerable intake level for arsenic exposure at 3.0 micrograms per kilogram per day, or 21 micrograms per kilogram per week. This means an average person weighing almost 150 pounds, or 68 kilograms, can tolerate up to 204 microgram of daily arsenic exposure from the environment. Going over this amount leads to serious health risks. Here's a surprising fact. Arsenic levels in rice grains can vary widely, from 0.3 to 2,600 micrograms per kilogram, often exceeding the limit set by both the FAO, 100 micrograms per kilogram, and the Codex Alimentarius Commission, 200 micrograms per kilogram. These findings reveal that a lack of awareness can boost your arsenic exposure from rice by 100 times, highlighting the critical need to stay informed about what you eat. The good news is that there are several ways to enjoy rice while reducing your exposure to arsenic and other harmful compounds. The Dartmouth Research Program's website provides valuable information on choosing rice and rice products with lower arsenic levels. Whenever possible, go for rice types with lower arsenic levels. Choosing white rice over brown rice can cut your arsenic exposure by 50%. To maintain the nutritional benefits, blend equal amounts of white and brown rice in your meals. This way, you can minimize arsenic intake by 25% while still getting fiber and minerals from brown rice. Check for the origin of rice while grocery shopping. It's a common myth that Asian rice is safe, but not all varieties are risk-free. Safer option is basmati and jasmine rice from the Himalayan region, including North Pakistan, North India, and Nepal. Sushi rice grown in the United States is also great as these varieties usually contain minimal amounts of arsenic. Look at the labels of your favorite snacks to check if they include ingredients like rice, rice flour, or rice syrup. If they do, replace them with alternative snacks to minimize your arsenic exposure. You can reduce the levels of arsenic and phytates in rice by simply washing and cooking it with clean, arsenic-free water, such as bottled water, filtered water, or water from a safe municipal supply. This has been shown to lower arsenic content by 57% in both white and brown rice. According to the Dartmouth Research Institute, cook your rice like pasta. Here's how it works. Start by boiling rice in 6 times more water, cook until it's soft, then strain and rinse with fresh water. This approach reduces inorganic arsenic by 40 to 60%, depending on the type of rice. However, it also drains out iron, folate, thiamine, and niacin by 50 to 70% from enriched rice. Recently, the University of Sheffield unveiled a new home-friendly cooking method for rice that reduces most of the arsenic while retaining the essential nutrients. The process begins with parboiling the rice in preheated water for 5 minutes. After draining and replacing the water, cook the rice over a low flame until it absorbs all the water. This method removes inorganic arsenic levels by 73% in white rice and 54% in brown rice, while it also lowers the amylopectin content in both types. Keep in mind that if you use arsenic-contaminated water for cooking, it could actually increase the arsenic levels in the rice. For this reason, avoid using water that exceeds 10 micrograms per liter in arsenic content. Due to the widespread influence of commercial ads, many people mistakenly believe that organic rice is completely safe to eat. While organic rice is generally better, no one guarantees it's arsenic-free. As mentioned earlier, arsenic is absorbed into the rice grain during the plant's growth, which entirely depends on the soil geology and irrigated water. So, always verify the origin and how the rice is tested for safety. The bottom line is to keep a balance. Instead of cutting rice entirely from your diet, Just be aware of the potential arsenic intake from rice and other sources. If you eat rice with every meal, then reduce your bowl portions and diversify your meals to lessen arsenic exposure. So next time when you prepare rice, consider these tips to make it safer and healthier to eat. Before moving forward, let's tackle a question that might be on your mind. How much rice is too much for you? Well, in the past, rice consumption patterns typically revolved around personal preferences and individual health considerations. But things have changed. Given the health risks and public concerns about arsenic exposure, Consumer Reports established new rice consumption guidelines many people don't know about. According to their report, you can safely eat up to 4.5 servings per week of U.S. sushi rice or basmati rice sourced from Pakistan, India, or California. For other types of rice, they suggest limiting intake to 2 servings per week for adults and 1.25 servings per week for children. A serving size of rice contains around 1/4 cup, 45 grams, of uncooked rice. Alternatives. If you're someone who eats a lot of rice and rice products, there's a way to lower your arsenic exposure. It involves cutting back on those foods and adding other gluten-free grains into your meals. Alternatives to rice that are low in arsenic, yet still gluten-free include quinoa, millet, amaranth, buckwheat, corn, oats, flax, and teff. These grains offer optimal nutrition with insignificant arsenic exposure. Other dietary sources of arsenic you should be mindful of include 1. Rice-based products such as rice cereals, rice cakes, and rice milk. 2. Seafoods, particularly shellfish and hijiki seaweed. 3. Poultry, which has arsenic residues from feed additives. 4. Processed fruit juices, including apple, pear, and grape juice. 5. Some vegetables, particularly those grown in arsenic-rich soils, such as leafy greens and root vegetables. All these dietary suggestions are designed to minimize chronic arsenic exposure, which could be detrimental to your kidneys and overall health. Another concern: can rice cause cancer? This question has recently stirred up a lot of concern, and people are increasingly anxious. Let's break this down and get to the facts briefly. Yes, it's true. There is evidence for the claim that your favorite rice can increase cancer risk. According to research published in the Science of the Total Environment, large rice intake can significantly raise cancer risk because of its arsenic-harboring nature. The FDA's report shows that eating rice over a lifetime could increase the risk of lung and bladder cancer, possibly affecting 39 out of every 1 million people. In addition, increasing daily rice consumption from less than 1 serving to 1 serving could raise cancer cases to between 74 and 184 per 1 million people. What's even more concerning is that the average American diet already includes 1 serving of rice or rice products daily. Reducing exposure to inorganic arsenic by limiting rice intake would decrease lifetime cancer risk. Setting a limit on inorganic arsenic exposure of up to 100 micrograms per kilogram through rice and rice products lowers cancer risk by 2 to 47%. On the other hand, reducing it up to 75 micrograms per kilogram decreases this risk by 17 to 79%, depending on the type of rice. To wrap this up, being mindful of your rice consumption and setting limits on arsenic exposure from rice and rice products can greatly reduce your risk of cancer. These are practical steps towards safeguarding your health through smart dietary choices. Spinach has long been praised as a nutritious superfood, but of all leafy greens, it has one of the highest concentrations of oxalates, a kidney-damaging compound. In your kidneys, oxalates can form crystals known as kidney stones, which are notoriously painful. So, eating too much spinach can really damage your kidneys. But how much is too much? We'll reveal that in a few minutes. Additionally, most people don't know that there are simple tips to lower the oxalate content in spinach, making it safer to eat. In this video, we'll cover them all. What makes spinach bad for your kidneys? Spinach is high in nutrients like vitamin C and K, as well as calcium, iron, and folate. Unfortunately, it's also high in oxalates. What are oxalates? Oxalates, or oxalic acid, are organic compounds found in many plant foods like leafy greens, nuts, seeds, potatoes, and beans. Of the leafy greens, spinach has one of the highest concentrations of oxalates. While oxalates are natural food compounds, when they are metabolized, the byproducts can be toxic. In addition to dietary sources of oxalate, which account for about 20 to 40% of the oxalate in the body, byproducts from the liver, red blood cells, oxidation reactions also release oxalate. A healthy body is designed to excrete oxalate efficiently, so small amounts are not usually harmful. One serving of raw spinach is about 100 milligrams, and experts say that not exceeding this amount per day can help prevent kidney stones. However, in excess, oxalates can cause health problems, especially if the kidneys can't break them down. Oxalates are metabolized in the liver and then cleared by the kidneys. Yet when oxalate builds up, it can lead to kidney stone formation and worsen existing kidney diseases. People with chronic kidney disease and those who have frequent kidney stones are at increased risk. In more severe cases of excess oxalates, the inability to break them down may lead to hyperoxaluria, a condition characterized by having too much oxalate in the urine. If left untreated, hyperoxaluria could lead to renal oxalosis, where poorly functioning kidneys cause the accumulation of oxalate in other parts of the body. Oxalates can build up in blood vessels, bones, and even organs, causing further complications such as organ damage or bone fractures. While this all sounds dangerous, don't forget the good news. The body can handle small amounts of oxalates. A healthy digestive system can break them down, and healthy kidneys can excrete them. However, other health factors, lifestyle factors, and dietary factors play a role in how well our bodies eliminate oxalates. Let's take a look at some of them. Low calcium diets. You may have heard that calcium is good for bones. It also binds to oxalate in the intestines, helping move it out of the body through urine. Without enough calcium, excess oxalate can be reabsorbed into the bloodstream instead of being excreted in the urine. The oxalate can then bind to calcium, forming kidney stones. When excess oxalates bind to large amounts of calcium, this reduces the availability of calcium for bones. So getting enough dietary calcium to accompany oxalate-rich foods is important not only for preventing kidney stones, but also for maintaining bone density. About 10 to 15% of oxalates are absorbed in the intestines. Diets low in calcium mean that less oxalate becomes bound, so more oxalate reaches the kidneys. Therefore, a higher calcium intake can be beneficial for kidney excretion of oxalates. Small bowel malabsorption syndrome. People with small bowel malabsorption syndrome may have increased oxalate absorption because they have limited calcium in their intestines to bind to the oxalates. Dysbiosis. Anyone with dysbiosis, which is an imbalance of good and bad intestinal microbiota, may have trouble breaking down oxalates. This is because our gut microorganisms play an important role in metabolizing oxalates. Without the right balance of healthy bacteria, viruses, and fungi to metabolize oxalates, oxalates can accumulate in the body, potentially causing health problems. Kidney disease. And of course, anyone with impaired kidney function, such as those with chronic kidney disease, will have a harder time breaking down oxalates. This can lead to hyperoxaluria or renal oxalosis, where oxalates can accumulate in other organs. Okay, that was a lot. Now you might be wondering who is more at risk for kidney problems. As for kidney disease, anyone can develop it. However, some people are more at risk, like those with diabetes and high blood pressure. As for kidney stones, men are also more likely to get them than women. Researchers believe this is due to several factors. Men tend to eat more animal protein and eat less dietary calcium than women. Men also generally drink less fluid than women. Testosterone may also play a role in stone formation by increasing oxalate in urine. However, it's important to note that anyone who does not drink adequate fluids is at higher risk of developing kidney conditions. This does not mean that if you're a man with high blood pressure or diabetes, you will develop kidney problems. However, knowing your risk factors is important. If you suspect any problems with your kidneys, seek medical attention. Also, let your doctor know if you experience any of the following symptoms: loss of appetite, unintentional weight loss, itchy skin, frequent urination, headaches, fatigue, nausea, blood in the urine. For those interested in the evidence, the studies supporting our claims are provided in the link in our description box. Potassium in spinach. Now, oxalates are not the only issue for people with compromised kidney function. Spinach is also high in potassium, an essential mineral found in foods like bananas and avocados. Too much potassium can be harmful to people with kidney disease because people with compromised kidneys cannot remove potassium correctly. In some cases of kidney disease, instead of excess potassium being excreted through the urine, it gets recirculated in the bloodstream. This can lead to hyperkalemia, or elevated blood potassium levels, causing symptoms like an irregular heartbeat, fatigue, and numbness. For individuals with kidney disease, a diet high in potassium can not only worsen the condition, but it could also lead to kidney failure. Severe hyperkalemia, or high potassium level, can cause abnormal heart rhythms and heart attacks, and it can be fatal in some cases. How to enjoy it if you still want to eat spinach. To protect your kidneys and to prevent kidney stones, you may wonder if you must avoid spinach entirely or if there are workarounds. Spinach is a healthful food that offers many benefits like antioxidants, phytonutrients, vitamins, and minerals. However, oftentimes those with kidney problems should limit or possibly avoid spinach due to its high oxalate and potassium contents. Yet, this may vary from person to person. Also, don't forget that it's not just spinach to consider. Other foods may need to be avoided or limited. These foods are high in potassium: asparagus, avocados, potatoes, tomatoes, squashes, oranges, nectarines, kiwis, dried fruits, bananas, and melons. Similarly, these common foods are high in oxalates: rhubarb, canned fruits, strawberries, beets, leeks, summer squash, sweet potatoes, teas, instant coffee, tofu, nuts, and chocolate. This seems like a lot, but don't worry. Many delicious and healthy foods are low in oxalates and potassium. You can enjoy foods like peaches, grapes, pears, apples, berries, pineapple, plums, tangerines, watermelon, broccoli, cabbage, carrots, cauliflower, celery, cucumber, eggplant, green beans, lettuce, onion, peppers, watercress, and zucchini. Stick with fresh foods rather than dried or canned options. Also, not all leafy greens are as high in oxalates as spinach. Kale, for example, is much lower in oxalates and should be safe for people with kidney problems. Additionally, if you choose to eat spinach, certain cooking methods, like boiling and steaming, have been shown to reduce the oxalate levels. However, with potassium, you'll hear different opinions. Boiling spinach has been shown to reduce the potassium content. Keep in mind that this does not apply to all fruits and vegetables. Here is something else you may want to consider if you'd like to eat spinach. Ascorbic acid from vitamin C is metabolized into oxalate. Taking a vitamin C supplement, or getting too much through your diet, can be harmful if you have kidney problems. Therefore, cutting back on vitamin C may be necessary if you're planning to include oxalate-rich foods in your diet. But before consuming spinach, check with your medical provider. Anyone with kidney problems should develop a personalized diet plan with their doctor. Ask your doctor to monitor your potassium and oxalate levels. Also, ask if any high oxalate or high potassium foods are right for you and in what amounts. What can help reduce the risk of kidney stones and oxalate buildup? Hydration is also important when it comes to preventing kidney stones. The kidneys need water to function well, and they help the body utilize water effectively. There are other ways you can support your kidneys besides maintaining a low oxalate and a low potassium diet. As mentioned, you can help reduce kidney stone formation by drinking enough fluids to prevent stones from forming. Another thing you can do to encourage oxalate excretion is to get enough of certain nutrients that can help metabolize oxalates. Here are some of them. Citrate. Citrate comes from citrus fruits, such as lemons and grapefruit, can prevent stone formation by binding to calcium and removing some of it from the urine. It can also bind to calcium oxalate crystals and inhibit their growth. Magnesium. Magnesium is an essential nutrient that can help inhibit stone formation. While many foods contain magnesium, some of them, such as nuts and dark leafy greens, are also high in oxalates. So it may be helpful to speak with your healthcare practitioner to first check your magnesium levels and possibly take a magnesium supplement. Calcium. Calcium binds to oxalates in the digestive tract before it reaches your kidneys. If you plan to eat oxalate-rich foods, pair them with calcium-rich foods like low-fat cheese, yogurt, or beans. As with magnesium, if it's not possible to get enough calcium in your diet, speak with your practitioner to determine if a calcium supplement is appropriate. Probiotics. Because dysbiosis can lead to kidney stone formation, anyone with dysbiosis should take a quality probiotic supplement. Having a healthy, balanced gut microbiome can help break down oxalates efficiently. In particular, probiotics that contain species of Oxalobacter, Bifidobacterium, and Lactobacillus can help effectively break down oxalates. Takeaway: avoid these 7 plant-based foods that can damage your kidneys. In recent years, many experts have suggested the benefits of a plant-based diet in reducing the strain on your kidneys. But just because something is from a plant doesn't mean it's good for your kidneys, particularly if you have kidney disease. In reality, some plant-based foods can actually pose risks, and cutting back on them would bring lasting rewards. Watch this video to learn 7 plant-based foods you should avoid to protect your kidneys. 7. Seed oils. Seed oils are plant-based cooking oils obtained from seeds. Examples are rice bran, canola, corn, cottonseed, grapeseed, soybean, sunflower, safflower, and peanut oils. These oils are promoted as valuable lipid sources due to their healthy fatty acid content and bioactive compounds. However, these oils have undergone extensive processing, including bleaching, refining, and heating, to extract and clean them before they can be used for cooking and baking. Refining can strip away essential nutrients like antioxidants and sometimes produce unwanted compounds. One example is trans fatty acids, one of the most harmful compounds for your kidneys and overall health. More concerning, seed oils can contribute to inflammation in the body due to their high omega-6 fatty acid content. Inflammation is the root cause behind a long list of health conditions like kidney disease, arthritis, heart disease, and diabetes. Small amounts of omega-6 fatty acids are necessary for your overall health. However, excessive consumption, typical in Western diets, can disrupt the balance between omega-6 and omega-3 fatty acids, leading to health problems such as kidney damage. Fats are divided into saturated and unsaturated types. Unsaturated fats found in oils like olive oil are healthier, offering benefits such as improved cholesterol and heart health. Saturated fats, found in animal products and some plants like coconut, should be limited. Replacing saturated fats with unsaturated ones can minimize the harm caused by seed oils. Opt for unrefined oils, such as extra virgin olive oil, which retain more natural nutrients, flavor, and aroma. Because they are extracted using methods like cold pressing without high heat or chemicals, unrefined oils are tastier, healthier, more natural, and free from harmful additives. This purity and nutrient retention support overall health, including kidney function. 6. Canned vegetables and canned soups. Canned soups and vegetables are commonly consumed because of their low cost and convenience. However, these foods typically contain high levels of sodium for preservation, which can be problematic for those with kidney disease. When the kidneys are not functioning properly, they cannot effectively filter out excess sodium from the blood. This leads to a buildup of sodium, which can increase blood pressure and put additional strain on the kidneys. It is worth emphasizing that canned foods often contain added sugars or chemical additives. This is why individuals with kidney disease should avoid or limit canned foods, including canned vegetables. Instead, look for fresh or low-sodium alternatives. Are you enjoying our video so far? If so, please give us some hints by dropping a like, and we'll make more content like this. 5. Chips and pretzels. Baked chips, despite their reputation as a healthier alternative to the fried version, can still pose risks to kidney health. Baked chips are highly processed and low in fat, making it easy to overeat without feeling full. Pretzels are processed baked bread snacks, which can raise blood sugar levels and promote fat storage. These effects can contribute to kidney damage over time. Potato chips and pretzels are also low in essential nutrients like fiber and protein, and can contribute to weight gain and obesity, potentially damaging your kidneys over time. Worse still, both chips and pretzels can contribute to high sodium intake, which can strain the kidneys by causing fluid retention and elevated blood pressure. High salt intake may worsen already existing kidney damage and increase the risk of cardiovascular complications like heart attacks and strokes. Try to moderate your intake of these foods in favor of healthier snack options to support kidney health. 4. Ketchup. Ketchup is made from tomatoes, which are high in potassium, and excessive potassium intake can be problematic for those with poor kidney function. Also, ketchup is often high in added sugar and sodium, which can contribute to high blood pressure and strain on the kidneys. 1 tablespoon, which is 17 grams, can contain 180 milligrams of sodium and 4 grams, which is equivalent to 1 teaspoon of sugar. It's best to choose options that are low in these ingredients, especially those that don't include high fructose corn syrup. The sugar in ketchup, like high fructose corn syrup, can lead to obesity and insulin resistance, making kidney function worse. Ketchup also has lots of phosphorus, which isn't good for individuals with kidney issues. Too much phosphorus can cause problems since damaged kidneys struggle to filter it out. It's important to avoid other store-bought condiments that might cause similar adverse effects. This includes salad dressing, BBQ sauce, and soy sauce, as they often contain high levels of sodium, sugars, or chemical additives. Rather than topping your favorite summer dishes with these condiments, consider using salsa. Choose fresh, salt-free salsa from the store, or make your own at home. For those interested in the evidence, the studies supporting our claims are provided in the link in our description box. 3. Instant noodles. Instant noodles are pre-cooked, dried noodles that are popular worldwide due to their convenience, long shelf life, variety of flavors, and reasonable cost. However, they are often criticized for being unhealthy due to their high sodium, carbohydrate, and trans fat content and lack of essential nutrients like fiber, vitamins, and minerals. In 2017, Nutrition Research and Practice published a study involving 3,397 college students in Seoul, aged 18 to 29. The study aimed to understand how eating instant noodles affects heart and metabolic health. They found frequent instant noodle intake was linked to elevated levels of blood triglycerides and sugars and increased blood pressure. These effects can potentially cause diseases that lead to kidney damage. Instant noodles are a perfect example of ultra-processed foods, or UPFs for short, which can damage kidney function. UPFs are typically high in calories, refined carbohydrates, sugar, salt, chemical additives, and trans fats, and low in dietary fiber and essential nutrients. A 2022 study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases analyzed data from the Atherosclerosis Risk in Communities study, a major research initiative conducted in the United States. This study involved 14,679 middle-aged adults without kidney disease at baseline. After analyzing, the researchers found that each additional serving of ultra-processed foods, including canned soup, was linked to a 5% higher risk of chronic kidney disease, or CKD for short. These findings highlight the potential harm of canned soup and other ultra-processed foods on kidney health. A study conducted in Korea found that people consuming the most UPFs had a higher prevalence of CKD. The results demonstrated that every 6.6% increase in UPF consumption was linked with a 6% higher prevalence of CKD. This association may be due to the harmful ingredients found in UPFs, such as hydrogenated oils and chemical additives, which can cause oxidative stress and inflammation. Frequent consumption of instant noodles can harm the kidneys due to their high phosphorus content, which can raise serum phosphorus levels. Elevated serum phosphorus is linked to increased mortality and cardiovascular events. Efforts are being made to address these concerns and develop healthier versions. In Malaysia, for example, researchers have explored the use of composite flours, incorporating locally available ingredients like seaweed powder to improve the nutritional value and quality of instant noodles while reducing dependence on imported wheat flour. 2. Frozen meals. Pre-packaged vegan-vegetarian frozen meals frequently contain lots of salt, potassium, and phosphorus, which can be bad for patients with kidney disease. Excess salt and other preservatives are often added to make these meals taste better and last longer. Moreover, excessive potassium intake can be problematic for individuals with compromised kidney function, as mentioned earlier, because the kidneys struggle to properly regulate potassium levels in the blood. However, plant-based diets in kidney disease have been shown to be beneficial, as the potassium in fresh whole plants are paired with fiber, which prevents its absorption. Talk with your dietitian about the right plant-based diet for you. Similarly, additives containing phosphorus in processed frozen foods can contribute to elevated phosphorus levels in the blood, potentially leading to bone and heart complications in those with kidney disease. Therefore, frozen meals are generally not a good choice for people concerned about kidney health, especially if consumed regularly. To make frozen meals less harmful to kidney health, choose those with lower sodium and reduced potassium and phosphorus content. This involves carefully reading labels and selecting products with minimal processed ingredients. A better option is to prepare homemade meals using fresh whole food ingredients, allowing for greater control over nutrient intake. Try cooking large batches of kidney-friendly vegetarian or vegan dishes and freezing individual portions for later consumption. By prioritizing fresh, whole foods and mindful meal planning, you can enjoy a kidney-friendly diet while minimizing potential harm. 1. Chocolate bars or energy bars. While cocoa contains phenolic antioxidants and flavonoids that can help support the function of your blood vessels, chocolate bars should be consumed with caution. Chocolate bars have high levels of saturated fats and added sugar. These components contribute to high blood sugar, high blood pressure, and weight gain, which are common triggers for kidney disease. Chocolate bars and energy bars are also considered UPFs, which are linked with an increased risk of CKD and worsened complications in patients with CKD. As mentioned earlier, UPFs are typically high in energy, low in nutritional value, and contain additives that may be harmful to kidney health. Energy bars, often consumed for replenishing electrolytes lost during exercise, can pose significant dangers to kidney health. Similar to energy drinks, they often contain high amounts of sugar to provide a quick energy boost. Also, the combination of high sugar and other additives in energy bars leads to conditions that can cumulatively strain the kidneys. Thus, long-term consumption of energy bars can accelerate kidney damage. Therefore, it is essential to minimize your consumption of these processed bars and consider fresh fruits and other healthier alternatives. The secret to healthier kidneys and a healthier you isn't hiding in some complicated medical journal. It is to live more naturally, like our ancestors did. They didn't have processed foods full of salt and sugar. They didn't ignore nature's calls. They stayed active by hunting and gathering rather than sitting for long periods. And they didn't rely on medications for quick fixes. By getting back to these simple, natural habits, you're not just protecting your kidneys. You're taking a stand for a happier, healthier, and more balanced life, like the way people stay fine-tuned over millions of years. Plus, try a plant-based diet instead of animal-based. It can take a lot of pressure off your kidneys. We know the list of good and bad habits for kidneys can be much longer, and we'd love for you to add your ideas. Share them in the comments. Your input might be helpful and even life-changing to someone else. Now, we want to send a big thank you to all our current subscribers and viewers. Your support inspires us to continue sharing valuable content. Hit the bell icon and turn on all notifications so you never miss a life-saving video. The sooner you spot kidney issues, the more you can do to keep things under control. If you're unsure about your kidney health and haven't been in a good shape recently, check out the video on the screen. Here, we cover all the possible symptoms, helping you spot kidney failure and take action effectively if needed. See you there. Stay informed, stay healthy.